This is May 11th, 1988. We are at the Adams Mark Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm Bill Pitts, Director of the State Museum of the Oklahoma Historical Society, and we're interviewing Mr. Wilbur Kiefer. And Mr. Kiefer, could you tell us where you live and when you were born?
I was born in October the 19th, 1920. And I live in Woodstock, Illinois.
Okay. Where were you born? What town were you born in?
In Galesburg, Illinois.
Okay. You joined the USS Oklahoma when?
I joined the Oklahoma probably in April of '39.
Okay. When did you join the Navy?
In February of '39.
Where did you go for boot camp?
Great Lakes.
And can you relate some experiences in boot camp?
Normal boot camp. It was peacetime boot camp and everything else. And it was a normal cold winter up there in the Great Lakes. And we went from there to right straight to the Oklahoma. 3 months up there, and then we went to the Oklahoma.
What uniforms did you wear in boot camp?
Well, we wore the old Navy regulation blues. You know, the round white hat and everything else. Now I think they're back to those now.
Yes.
No, I think they are.
Did you request to serve on the Oklahoma?
No.
What did you think when you first saw the Oklahoma?
Big ship. First one I've ever seen. We got aboard there late in the afternoon, if I remember right, and it was in Long Beach Harbor, in Long Beach, California.
Where were your quarters on the ship?
I went into the 2nd Division, which was number 2 turret. That was our prime. 2nd Division is a deck crew, too.
What were your duties?
At first, I was on the deck, as a seaman on the deck. And then finally, I got into the turret.
Can you describe an average day on the Oklahoma?
Oh, the Oklahoma, I think we got up about 5:30 and scrubbed down the decks when I first went aboard, and then we went to breakfast. And then we went back working on the decks and painting and everything else the rest of the day. And that was the life of a seaman.
Can you tell a little bit about holystoning the deck?
Yes, we've done that many times, yeah. It was tough work. It was a tough day. Fridays. It's always done on Friday, and it was a tough day.
You were on the ship during the attack?
Yes.
Can you describe what you remember?
I was in the handling room, but this time I'm in part of the crew of the Turret 2. And I was down in the handling room of the Turret 2 when they started to attack the ship. We lived down there. That's where we lived. And that's where we were when we got the explosions and got the torpedoes and everything else.
So you were on the ship that morning?
Yes.
What did you do that morning, right after you got up?
After I got up, they started to attack. I was sitting down in the handling room down in the Turret 2, and they started to attack there on Sunday morning, and then we went right up through the turret and right outside.
And then what happened?
By the time we got to the main deck, why the ship was listing so, that the fellow in front of me, when he came out from on the overhang of the turret, a gangway broke loose and swept him overside with it, and with this I dropped out and I walked up the side of the ship, and then I walked down the side of the ship. I walked up the deck and then walked down the side of the ship, and I got in the water and swam over to Fort Island.
What happened then?
Well, we went with the Marine barracks. Went to the Marine barracks, and they was going to take us over to the California, because the California was one of the few ships that were firing. And they mustered all the Oklahoma sailors that were there, and was going to take us over to California, and we were ready to go, and then our captain walked in. And our captain said, no, they're not taking the Oklahoma sailors over to the California. And then with this, we went someplace. In fact, I ended up in a ammunition depot for about 2 weeks.
On land?
Oh, right there on land, yeah.
What do you remember about the attack? Do you remember the planes?
Well, see, now I was down below. I remember the explosions. See, we was taking torpedoes and taking torpedoes. Then we went up through the ship, right straight up through the turret.
So the
Yeah.
attack was over by the
No,
time...
no. The only thing when I got up there was planes, but this time there was more diving and scraping than they were in bombing. And then when we walked over to Fort Allen, after we got on Fort Allen, walked over to the Marine Barracks, why, they were still around. But, and then we stayed there most of the morning.
Did you see the Arizona blow up?
No, no. If I did, it was just another explosion at the time.
What do you remember? What the relationship was with the local inhabitants in town and the Orientals in Hawaii?
No.
Before and after the...
No, I don't. Our pleasure was out to the beaches and out to the, we never had mixed up in the politics or anything else.
You didn't, were you on the Oklahoma when it ever crossed the equator?
Yes.
Okay, could you tell us about that?
Well, when I crossed the equator, and I don't remember the day or the year, it was a rough day. Now, if you know anything about crossing the equator, but it depends on how many pollywogs you have and how many of the other sides you got. And there was more of us than there was of them, so it wasn't too bad.
Can you describe what happened?
Well, there's a lot of initiations, ducking in water and feeding you stuff that, and telling you things it's different than what it is. Spices out of the galley, one thing and another, and a lot of fun, really.
What is your fondest memory of being on the Oklahoma?
Oh, well, of course, I liked the Navy. I ended up, I didn't stay in the Navy, but I liked the Navy. The Navy was very good to me, and I enjoyed the sailors, and I enjoyed the Navy. And the Navy was a home to a lot of people, to lots and lots of people. And I think that's what I enjoyed about it.
Well, we want to thank you, and